Record to the cloud. Okay, the second Rhema will record. There we go. I don't know why it's decides that it wants only my cell phone, which is so weird. I didn't know I could record on my cell phone.
Those of you that are just like tuning in, we're doing an online series with the beautiful Rhema Flowers, a huge inspiration to me. And so we're answering some questions for her new up and coming series, A Naturally Healthy Start. So join us and watch us as we do answer questions. Just don't ask anything too personal. No, I'm an open book.
You're an open book. I was gonna say, you're a completely open book. So I mean, like, what would I ask? But so I'm just gonna welcome everyone back to A Naturally Healthy Start, where we can, where we're working on helping people get healthier, live healthier, happier lives, increase their energy, elevate their moods, handle everyday, day-to-day stress. And I am so happy and so honored and so excited to share my great, great friend, Destiny Owen, with everyone today. Hi, Destiny.
Hello, everybody. So happy to be here.
Yay. And thank you so Yes, and thank you for taking the time out of your day, your busy day, personal training, yogi, all kinds of, I mean, I want you to be able to introduce yourself and tell a little bit, but you know, I'm so honored, and we go way back. We go back for years in yoga teacher training, right?
Yes. I don't even know how many years it's been now, to be honest with you. Like
it's
at least 7.
It's been a while. Yeah. At least 7, right?
Yeah.
At least 7, probably more.
Yeah.
I'd say probably more, because it was closer to when we opened the studio, and so. Yeah. But yeah, nice.
My son's 5 now, so. I think wow. 6 years ago. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
But what a journey.
Oh my gosh.
And gosh, I just feel so lucky and so blessed to be to where I am today. You know, you're such an inspiration to put all the pieces together for me to start to help people.
Yes, that's awesome. I love that. So let's introduce you to the audience a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your background and where you came from, where you were before you even started living healthy and things like that. And then take us on that journey to where you are today.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Destiny Owen, and
is that your real name? Like birth certificate name is Destiny?
It is.
Awesome.
Destiny was my birth certificate name.
Awesome.
And my mother was actually, at one point, she was never supposed to have children. She had 6 miscarriages before me due to medical reasons, and so hence my name is Destiny, because I was a stubborn little brat and I was coming out to change the world.
Absolutely. You were destined to be here. I love it. That's awesome. I never knew that.
Yes, exactly. So I would say, okay, so I'm now a certified master trainer, which means my background is obviously in training, but I have 6, I actually have 7 now, but 6 extra certifications in different areas to become a master trainer. Okay. So right now I do one-on-ones. I like to specialize mostly in like corrective exercise, really from what I've learned from yoga and breathing techniques using pelvic breath. Like I said, I'm so blessed today. I get to work with, you know, people of all kinds of different areas, from wanting to just lose weight to, you know, people with prosthetic limbs that need to learn balance, you know, all sorts of different places that this journey has taken me on.
Wow.
So, yeah, so very, very lucky. I now own 2 businesses, Shape Your Destiny, which is the anatomy sort of physical aspect, and Fear and For Incorporated, which is more of the nutrition-based. We talk a lot about anxiety, helping with disease and stuff like that, gut health, and et cetera.
Oh, perfect. Good. Because we're going to get into some really great conversation today, because I definitely want to talk about stress and anxiety, and, you know, how we can talk about that and how we can help people, give them techniques and tips to manage that. But tell us, you know, like, so have you always been in the health field? I mean,
No, so I was one of those girls that grew up doing the same thing. Of course, we always do in our families. Now, my family was not healthy. It was a long line of addict behavior and such, and I was never even shown that part of life. So I was never educated about these options of being quote unquote healthy. Um, so my background was actually so straight out of high school at 16. I actually started in nursing school. So, because I was super young when I graduated, I always had like that left brain. So I was skipped up 2 grades and just went directly into nursing school. Didn't like it so much, so veered off into the pharmacy aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And became a pharmacy technician for Kaiser for a few years. And I noticed in myself that people were coming in and they weren't getting any better.
Mm-hmm.
So people were getting prescription after prescription. And each month they would come in to fill their prescriptions and they were worse, or, and something really just settled badly with that in me. And so I decided to leave and go back to school, become a trainer. $30,000 worth of student loans my dad was not too happy about, but
Now wait, before you continue,
no.
you left a pharmacy job. You were a pharmacy tech, gone to school, the whole 9 yards, and you went back to be a trainer. What was the impetus to be a trainer, a personal trainer?
Yes, exactly. But I was miserable. I was miserable because I felt like I had a lot more knowledge to give, and just filling prescriptions for everybody wasn't my thing.
Right.
And I thought to myself, I can really get out there and be more proactive, help people, and really like the big thing for me was never being active. And then I actually got like a back problem, a herniated disc, right out of college, and I had a surgery. It didn't work. I got really like addicted to the pain medications. And the doctor told me, look, you're going to have to get a fusion done in your back and you may never walk the same again. I was only 22.
Wow.
And I kind of said, well, is there anything that I can do besides the surgery? And he said, really, the only thing that you could do is try to strengthen your core. But that's it. Now, obviously, fresh out of school, I wasn't making money. So I took my own knowledge in anatomy and I went and I started doing these exercises and etc. A year later, I ran a marathon. I've never had a back problem since.
Wow.
And that really blew my mind that I could change my life like that. What really blew my mind, though, was my family. Everybody around me started making better choices. And I realized, like, this is really contagious. So the more that I learned, the more my family was getting healthy because they just purely weren't educated on it.
So the things that you were learning, you were sharing with your family, and they were making the changes to their lives as well. So everybody was kind of seeing it at the same time.
Exactly. And
wow.
That really, like, gave me the motivation to, learn more. And, I didn't even know, but as a child, apparently, my dad said I used to, you remember back in the day when we had encyclopedias, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, way back when, and people even had like jobs to go sell them.
Yeah. Yes, people used to sell them like house to house and stuff, right? Yes. That sounds familiar. Yes, I remember. I think I had an Encyclopedia Britannica.
You had to. You're going nowhere in life if you didn't have encyclopedia. But, later my dad...
That was the old Google.
Yes. And my dad told me, though, even as a kid, that I used to, like, open them, go to anatomy pictures, and always point at them or ask them questions about them. So I guess I was just, it was my destiny. So I don't know.
Nice.
So I was never, ever educated on it. And as I started to educate myself, my life just became so much better. And so I never stopped. And I keep going to school. I'm still in school today. I'm just always learning and always, I can't get enough.
Love it. Now, did you feel like when you were bringing this information back to your family, did you feel like you had to force your family? I mean, were they open to it? Like if there's different people out there that are like maybe struggling with like, well, no, I'm trying to change and I have a partner or a spouse or my kids, how do you talk to family about getting healthier?
That is an awesome question because even though that I say, it started to change my family and etc., I actually had a hard time at first because it was kind of like when people are comfortable making comfortable choices, they don't like change. And
Mm-hmm.
so at first it was sort of like repelled, you know, like, oh, here comes Destiny again with all her healthy stuff and, you know, all these things. So I hated it because I felt like, you know, I was kind of like the black sheep of
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, you know, I grew on them like a fungus, and they started listening, and yeah, and it really started to make a difference. But yeah, it was definitely not okay at first, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, as a matter of fact, it was kind of looked at by my father as being selfish. Number one, because I left school, or I left my comfortable job with benefits.
Right.
And he saw it as being selfish, like taking time out for myself to do yoga or to run, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's like, there's chores around here that need to be done. You should be mowing the lawn. Um,
That's a very dad thing to say. That's actually sounds
yes,
like
yes,
I
yes.
can hear a dad saying that.
Oh, yeah.
That's very,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely very difficult at first. Yes, I had to really like just be strong in my beliefs and you know keep it going. But of course, fast forward 12 years now that you know, I've made it in this industry, prevalent that that's my choice. You know,
Yes.
of course they don't bother me too much anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
it's anything in life that's worth it is going to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna have to make some
Yeah.
choices. And
Exactly.
anytime you're gonna change something, the status quo. Not everybody's gonna jump aboard right away. Not everybody's gonna jump aboard. And so I think that you continuing to pursue what you were pursuing, I think probably helped your family. Because
Yeah.
it wasn't like a fad. You didn't just like look at it one day and then leave it alone.
No, definitely not. And like I said, in my history, you know, everybody grew up to drink a lot of beer, smoke a lot of cigarettes, party, and you know, so I was the first one in my family to even graduate high school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was a huge deal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I don't know. I just know that every single time that I kind of picked the path of least resistance, that I was really happy at the end of that path, you know. And so I've always been a very curious person, so I just always get as much information as I can about everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I utilize those things with my clients, you know,
Yes.
including injuries. So I get injured first, and then I tell everyone how not to.
It's like
So,
don't do this.
yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
now when
And
you
that's what got me
started,
into yoga, by the way, was I got injured in a marathon. I did not want to do yoga. I thought it was so boring, how silly. And then I had you as my teacher, and I walked out and signed up for the teacher's class the same day.
it's so funny because people look at us that we love yoga and they're like, you guys wouldn't
No,
understand
it didn't
because
start
you love yoga, but I don't, you know. I used to make fun of it. I made fun of it for a year with my colleagues. They kept saying, you should try yoga. And I'm like, yoga.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. No. No. I was so against it.
Yes. But I do think that it depends too on your teacher and who you're learning it from. And that doesn't, I don't mean to say like, oh, one person's better than the other, vice versa. The way that I teach, I like to teach with a light heart. So I like to put on like the Beatles and, you know, and some people don't like it. So if you want more of like, you know, there's so many teachers out there and there's so much to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be afraid to, you know, try again. If you've tried it before and you don't have the best taste in your mouth from it, because that's what I run into a lot, is people have tried it, I don't really like it. I'm not flexible.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So,
it hurts. Something went wrong. Sometimes they're pushing, you know, but it's true. There's so many teachers and different styles of yoga out there. Try something else. Because in the beginning, my very first yoga class, I was like, meh, I was not impressed. I was like, I wasn't looking to go back. But, you know, and then until I found a teacher that I could relate to, and then I couldn't stay out of the yoga studio. So finding something that relates to you, that you, because there's plenty of us out there. There's plenty of yoga teachers. There's plenty of styles that you
Yeah.
can do.
But
Excellent.
you've also got to go into it understanding and knowing that that's not going to be the only answer. You know, it's awesome if you're going to walk in and, you know, begin doing yoga. I mean, who realistically is going to walk in and start doing anything 5 days a week? You know, I mean, come on, we all have kids and families and, you know,
Lives and
right. So you've got to go to it in many directions.
Yeah.
Like body, mind, spirit, you know, every part of you
Absolutely.
has to be changed. It's not
Yes.
just the physical part, you know, and that's very important and detrimental because that's why people don't get the results they're looking for.
And I think that that's why also people think that there's no cure for certain things out there. Because if you're looking for one pill or one surgery or one something that you feel is going to cure what's going on, then yeah, there is no cure out there. But if you're going to layer something, then yeah, you can make a huge difference in your life. If you're going to do, you know, talk to different parts of life. And even the series that we're doing here, we're talking about moving your body, right? Yoga's my exercise of choice. That's not for everyone. Not everybody's gonna, you can move, there's different ways, maybe spin classes for you, maybe just taking a walk, you know, around the block is for you, maybe running is for you, but being able to move your body. Can you talk to that a little bit? Because you're a personal trainer. And so you see different things. So if there's people out there that are suffering from maybe achy joints, or they're sitting all day, they're hunched over their computer, you know, things like that. What kind of things would you recommend when you see your clients come in and this is what they are challenged with?
Well, number one, I am really into posture. So I always like to look at them, and a lot of people don't know that, you know, if we sit in a sedentary position all the time, or we're always typing, that what happens to our body is we create lordosis in the cervical spine, and it makes our shoulders rotate, you know, so
Forward.
we're trying to, right. But and I, you know, before I learned more about corrective exercise, I wasn't aware of how these things, you know, in the beginning of my training career, it was like just always lose weight, always, you know. Today, I take things very much differently. Like those core things have to be good first, you know.
Yes.
So even if you're in shape, oftentimes those things can be cut off, and this is where, you know, the constant pain comes from, or, you know, when the sides of your spine start being out of line, you have all these cervical connections and all these things going awry, you know, which can create anxiety in itself, which can create depression. There's just so much to it. So I always like to meet the person, see what their daily lifestyle is like. And because I've done so many different sort of sports, you know, it's really important to me that whatever I make a plan for them, it includes what they like, you know?
Yeah.
If I don't do that, then you're not going to stay interested. You're not going to stay happy. You're just going to go look for the next thing. So it's really got to be something that works for them. So most of my clients, I will say, we lift weights like 1 day a week or two. We utilize yoga the last 15 minutes, or they stay for an extra 15 minutes after. We do different cardio drills. We do, and always first and foremost, nutrition. I mean, it's got to be looked at, nutrient deficiencies, their health history, the whole shebang, how they feel every day when they wake up, you know?
Yes.
I always ask people, when did you feel the best in your life and what were you doing? And let's get out there.
Those are great questions.
Yeah.
And what do you get from that? Like what kind of information do you get from asking those two questions of them?
Well, number one, I feel like what happens when we think about the best time of our life? It's going to bring you happiness, right? It's going to let out endorphins. It's going to make you remember that it's possible, right? We live in such a crazy life now. Even for me, being in this world is sometimes really difficult, like to keep everything, all your I's dotted, all your T's crossed, you know? It gives me the information on what makes them happy. Maybe they were, you know, taekwondo doing that, or maybe they were doing marathons, or maybe they just felt really great when they had a little time with no pressure, you know? Because sometimes just breathing alone can make you sweat if you're using it right. So it gives
Yes.
me ideas into their life and how I can bring that back out of them, that want, that thirst to be better. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. So you started when you shifted your life. You just started with where did you go? Because you didn't start with yoga.
No, so like I said, I started doing a little bit of my own research out of, nursing and pharmacy and etc.
Right.
And I just started by I think I ordered like a book on there wasn't even Amazon back then, so it was like barnesandnoble.com or something like that. And I ordered a book and I started doing some of the exercise. And I'll never forget this because, I worked a lot, I had a son, and I would take 30 minutes before I went to sleep and do like sit ups or, do like little workouts for myself
Right.
before bed.
Mm-hmm.
And now I understand why I couldn't go to sleep at night because it starts to like
Stimulated everything. Yep.
right. But it did start making me feel better. So anyway, so I went back to school and I just did online to get like, my foundation as far as, being able to work with people hands-on training. And then from there, I enrolled in nutrition school. So I had my nutrition and my cert when I got my first gym.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, really, it's just working with so many people, so many facets. I mean, some people like boot camps. Some people can't stand them, so they come to my house and do yoga on Thursday nights.
Mm-hmm.
There's something for everybody.
Yes.
And you want to surround yourself with people like that when you go see them, you're going to leave feeling better.
Yes.
Somehow, some way.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And that's my true goal, because if I do that for that person that comes in, I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
contagious.
It really is. Yes.
It really
Because
is.
even as trainers, even as teachers, sometimes we have a day. And
Like
I know,
or
and I know like when I go in and I hit yoga, I get to put down all of my junk. I get to put it down for a minute, and when I step on that mat and I get to teach, and every single time by the end of class, whether I'm teaching or practicing, but even when I'm teaching, by the end of class, I'm like, oh, I feel so much better,
Exactly. How many times though, like before you go to teach, you're thinking, oh, I can't do this. They're gonna know I'm so tired, and like
I'm tired, I'm dragging.
I'm a big fraud because I've had a bad day. And,
Yep.
But that's not the case. It never is the case. You will never leave. And I remember you saying this to me. You will, take a second to appreciate what your body did for you or what it does for you every day.
Mm-hmm.
And just know that when you leave this room, you're better in some aspect.
Absolutely.
And that is it on the dot, is when you do something or you make the time to do something positive for yourself, know that no matter what you get out of that time, it made you better.
Absolutely. Just taking the time.
Yes.
Just taking that time and taking a breath, but just taking that time, that's huge.
Uh-huh. And, and for some people, they love throwing heavy weights around, and that's what they need, and that's cool. We do that. But I will just say that throughout the years, it's just always causing some sort of injury, it seems like. So it's like, let's take it back a notch and really make sure that everything's there together. I mean, we can do heavy weights and we can give you big muscles. We can do that. But I need to make sure your foundation's there first.
Yes.
Because
yes.
you don't set that up right. And that means happy when you're home. I mean, I get real personal, Who do you have to surround you with positive, reinforcement at home? Because then I know, okay, well, if her husband's not with her on this, I need a little bit extra check on her every once in a while. Give her a little more support. You know what I mean? So,
yes. Or if she's fighting against someone, sometimes you have family members that mean well. They're thinking of your well-being, but it shows up in, why are you going there? And why are you doing this? And why are you changing? And why are you, and so you feel like sometimes you're even fighting the people that mean the most to you.
Yes, I agree. And I always say this joke that changing someone's healthy habits is harder than changing their religion. People want to eat what they want to eat. They want to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And
People have an emotional connection to their
yes,
food. You start to mention food or changing their diet, people have an emotional connection,
yes,
and it gets hairy
right.
sometimes in
It
these
does.
conversations.
Yeah, and it comes to mind making me think just about my client today. She's 83. Well, she just
Hmm.
had her 83rd birthday.
Oh,
She's
sweet.
but she's got that old school way of looking at things, and unfortunately, the foods we have today don't give us the nutrients that we used to get 30, 40 years ago.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts on how to get around that. So, little things that I've been able to do, like putting a little coconut oil in her diet, uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
getting some things in there, and that's the key, is to adjust it to their lifestyle so it's not too much.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it's something that you're doing every day thinking it's great for you, and it's actually, really detrimental to you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's where people lose the passion, because they're like, screw it, I don't know if this is good anyways.
Exactly. And that's another reason why I wanted to do this series, because I know a lot of people out there, they feel like there's a lot of contradictory information. There's too
There
much
is.
information. It's like, eat this, don't eat that, eat that, drink this, don't drink that. And then they are like, and a confused mind does nothing. So they choose to do,
Yeah.
right? They choose to do nothing, right? Because they are confused. And so I wanted to open up a dialogue where people can ask questions, and they can feel empowered to take this on and make design their own healthy lifestyle. Because like you, I agree. I like, baby steps. Let's do a little bit, and let's find out what works for you.
Yes. And I think what really changed my aspect on that, because I used to be sort of like this, hardcore trainer. People would be 1 minute late. You owe me 10 burpees for every minute you're late, or,
Mm-hmm.
but having a son now that's 4.5, like, it's changed life. And there's going to be all kinds of things in that can change your life, you know? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to work out like I used to. I
Yeah.
work in the gym all day and I can't find time to do it.
Yep.
So,
Exactly. I feel the
know,
same way. Yes.
so
Yes.
it's like, what do I do? So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go home, make a little area for
Mm-hmm.
myself, and luckily I do have that support, to where,
At home.
my fiance will watch the kids for a little while, and I can just, sometimes I work out in there in my
Mm-hmm.
garage. Sometimes I just sit there. Sometimes I play my guitar. Sometimes, whatever it is that I
That's
want
so
to do.
important. Oh
Yes.
my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's so important. It's like, yeah, sometimes you don't, whatever, for whatever reason, you don't have it in you to do a full workout. But if you could just sit there and breathe and just have a
Yes.
down moment, or like you said, you play your guitar, you read, you just like take it down a notch.
Uh-huh. And again, I'm not trying to butter you up at all, but
Butter me up, butter me up.
yeah, something that you used to say in the beginning of all our classes, and which I use today. So I think the beauty is how just teaching one person can lead to so many.
Ripple effect. Nice.
But you had said, look, take all your worries, everything that's at the forefront of your mind, and push it away. Like a bubble in the distance, it's just floating away, and know it's going to be waiting for you when you're done.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, all the stuff you've been thinking about that needs to get done, it's still going to need to get done in 15 minutes. So just give yourself that 15 minutes to be you, or that hour in the class, or that half hour in Pilates, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Commitment to be there in your life too.
Yes.
So yeah, that's.
Now, you were talking about, I want to take you back to foundation for a little bit. And you mentioned that you work with people, stress, anxiety, depression. Talk to us a little bit about that, because there's a lot of people that are suffering. They have the everyday stress and anxiety, but maybe it's turning into a full-blown depression. How do we begin to turn that around? What kind of techniques or tips, or how do they even identify it? What can we do about that?
Sure. Okay, so I would say that, training as many people as I have over the last 10 years, that is probably the most common. I feel, in my opinion, and in studies that have shown, like I said, there's not the same nutrients in the foods today that there was, even 20 years ago. I think they did a test, and there was like 200 more nutrients in an apple 20 years ago than there is today. We're very mineral deficient, number one. You know, we grow things, but we never put back in the earth. Just like you and I, sometimes we got to deposit in order to give. Same thing with our earth. So we're take, and we don't let it even fully circle to be the nutrients we need. So something that I really got educated on over the last couple of years was something called a leaky gut. Have you heard of that? Yeah.
Yes, and yeah, it's out there a lot. People are talking about leaky guts. Yes, explain that.
And adrenal stress, which kind of goes hand in hand with stresses of everyday life.
So what is leaky gut?
So basically,
for those that don't know.
Yeah. So leaky gut is something you can actually physically see on an X-ray. If you have a good chiropractor, they can actually physically see it. But what happens is your stomach acids and etc. like they kind of leak, basically, you know. But like I had told you, we've got all that stuff happening in our spine, which sends out all these signals, but it basically creates toxic blood. And then our brains aren't able to have the dopamine, you know, the structure that it needs. So it's sometimes beyond your health. Like it's an actual physical condition. And I don't like to say that all the time because I don't want people to think it's an excuse, but we're talking up in the 70% of people now have that, you know? So it has to do with the right nutrients.
That's huge.
It is huge. It does have to do with your posture. So for instance, if you've ever noticed with like autistic children, they have a tendency to pull their shoulders forward. And a lot of times it's because of the uncomfortableness in their gut. And so they're doing this to try to relieve it a little bit. So it does happen with sedentary jobs, even that structure. It's like, it's very closely related to posture, diet, and all those things. You can get tested for it. But I always tell people I pretty much just figure you have it because, you know, and do all the good things to get rid of it. But we tested our kids for it before and they had it.
Wow.
Our kids, and we try to feed our children really well.
Right.
But outside of us, they don't know, and they had it. So we've seen them be fixed, you know, and it's crazy. So it's a real thing, and it really does it. As it gets worse, it creates a lot of problems in the brain. As well as I would say low-fat diets. The brain is 70% fat, so sometimes it's not about what you shouldn't have, it's about what you should.
Yes.
And when we're not getting the fats we need for our brain, etc., we suffer. We suffer for everything doesn't work right.
And that's where that whole foundation is off.
So that's why I like to say, like I said, get a background history of what that person's living like.
Yes.
You know, but I've had people tell me that with lupus, for instance, oh my God, Destiny, I feel so good. I feel like I'm high now. And I'm like, no, sweetie, it's because you've never felt normal.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Like to feel good anymore.
Yeah.
So things like that can really push. So imagine if you finally give your body everything it needs. It's been thirsty, you know? Finally have everything you need, and then you can thrive emotionally.
Yes. Yes.
It's really interesting, and it's
that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, because I know that is going around a lot, and I know people are hearing those terms: adrenal fatigue, leaky gut, and not really understanding what it means or the implications for their lives.
Yes, and you know, the side effects are tiredness, grumpiness, you know, feeling like all of a sudden really tired because your body's fighting toxins at all times. So it's on the defense mode 100% of the time, you know?
So if people are chronic, feeling tired a lot, that chronic fatigue, that is that you're because I know I went through that for a while. There was a period like I woke up in the morning and I was still tired. I woke up and tired, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, in the afternoon I'm tired. At night I can't, you know, 9 o'clock I can't keep my eyes open. It was just like, and I just thought it was the lifestyle. I was like, oh, I'm stressed, just a lot of work, and I'm not getting really good sleep. And
right. I don't know why, as a human species too, and I do it, it's like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I, we don't ever explore the possibility that it could be environmental factors.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
something I've done a lot of research on is, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but solar eating. And it is a known fact that different organs of the body work at different times. So if you're noticing yourself always waking up between like 2 and 3 to go to the restroom, it oftentimes says that something's going on with your kidneys, or you have over toxicities that are trying to work themselves out. So little things like having a glass of water with some cayenne pepper before you go to sleep, it keeps your metabolic process going. So there's like all sorts of like
That's
little
awesome.
that's why people crash at certain times of the day, because their certain organs are on those, and they're not getting the nutrients they need for that organ. And so they do it at the same time every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting.
I
So,
can, yeah. Wow, that's a great tip. Even the water with a little cayenne
yeah,
to keep the metabolism going. That's an awesome tip. I have a friend, and he's always going, but like the minute he stops, he falls asleep. So
yeah,
he has to keep going, and I'm like,
right.
this is not, he's like, no, I just didn't get good sleep. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
There's something going on in you.
there
This is not how
definitely is.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you're crashing like that, for sure. But I know that even myself, it's like, when we have busy lives and we're worried about the kids and we're worried about tomorrow's work day and blah, blah, it's hard to shut your mind down. And I do feel like that's where the breathing techniques help a lot.
Yes,
Um,
for sure.
but if you're in this spiral where you're in anxiety, it's very hard to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because what's the last thing you want to do is think about life when you're anxious, so you just want to keep yourself either busy or sleeping.
Yes,
So,
yes,
it
yes. You
takes a
don't want
lot,
to stop.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's when the onset comes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's the time where, like, I
That
do
you
little,
need it.
sometimes even like writing down, a gratitude list and all the things that you're grateful for. And you have to physically train the mind to be happy again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And remember those things, because for some reason we can focus on something negative, especially if you're going through grief or anything like that. Like, you've got to bring those positive ailments, or those positive things, sorry, push the ailments and concentrate them right there. I think that's why it's
Yes.
important, like, during times of bad, that you have your family there to love you and support you. But not everybody
Yes.
has that. So,
Yeah.
um,
So you have to be that for yourself.
yes.
The gratitude list, starting your day, like, taking some time and just thinking, being quiet. Maybe, some people are into meditation. That's so powerful and so huge, but if that's not something that, and I know with like meditation, people are, that they go for, I can't quiet my mind. Oh, I can't do this. I can't. That's like saying I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. It's
Yeah.
like, I know, we know.
I know.
That's job security for us. We know.
Yeah, thank you. But I used to always make a joke that Shavasana is the hardest pose for me, and it is to this day.
It
Because
is
I'm
for a
like,
lot of people. Oh my gosh, yes.
because it's like, all right, cool, we just did all that stuff. Yeah, seal your practice in. All right, let's go. Like, I didn't want to take the time to look inward, but
Mm-hmm.
the growth
Mm-hmm.
that comes from that is beautiful. It can be
Mm-hmm.
scary.
It can be scary, but it's beautiful. And for those of you Shavasana, non-yogis yet, it's a corpse pose. It's the last pose that we do at the end of your yoga practice. And all you do, like, and we just talked about how tough it is. But you get to lie down and be still. And what it does is it helps your body to absorb all of the movements you just did. We've twisted, we've folded forward, we bent backwards, we had your leg over your head. We might have done all kinds of things for you. And so your body just needs just a second, just a few minutes to just sort of stay with it, So that's a couple of the benefits of corpse pose, Shavasana. It can be very, very restorative and very beautiful. Once you're a yogi, that's just the pose that you love. You go to yoga for that pose, but
Yeah.
it can be a tough pose as well. This has been awesome. This has been really good. And as I wind us down, if people want to work with you, because obviously this sounds great, you are local, people want to work with you, they want to know like how to find you, how to follow you, where do we send them, where do they go?
I have, so just go to destinyowen.com. I make it pretty simple. I'm Destiny
Nice.
Owen and I'm at destinyowen.com. I have a facility that I work out of in Rancho Cucamonga, but I also do like corporate things as well, and lots of different things. So you
That's
can schedule
awesome.
it on there. I have a free
So you do
ebook.
corporate
Yeah.
classes you work with. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome to know. Yeah, definitely mention that. So if there's something at your work.
A lot of like schools are now outsourcing
Mm,
to bring in yoga and teaching breath, and I think it's beautiful because many corporations are now finally setting aside, you know, the financial means to make their employees live a healthier, because they're more productive, they're more, you
yes.
know,
Yes.
healthier. So that's been
Healthier,
a
and
lot
it's
of,
going to hit their bottom line. It's going to make it so much better if we can make a difference where there's like, you know, more productivity. You know, people
yes,
are happier, people are more productive, people are
exactly.
showing up, you know, better at work. I mean, you know, it's just going to help all around.
Yeah, 100%. And then I also have we have a free ebook on cureinfor.com that talks a lot about, um, you know, gut health and easy, basically all natural ways to help your life,
Oh,
instead of
beautiful.
taking, you know,
Mm-hmm.
prescriptions. And I know some people have to, but how to sort of envelop, you know, natural, healthy things in your lifestyle. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so, and then I have a YouTube channel's Destiny Owen. So you can't say you can't find me, you know my name.
Nice. That's
And
awesome.
I'm
That is
sure you
awesome.
probably, if you live in Rancho Cucamonga, you've probably seen me running around your house at some point. So just stop and say hi.
Love it, love it, love it. That is so awesome. Well, again, as we wrap up, what can we leave them with? What is like maybe a final thought or two that you can leave people with that are wanting to change, trying to change? Maybe they're confused, maybe they don't know where to begin. Maybe they may have a gym membership or a juicer, but they're not really using it. You know, what can we leave them with that's inspiring, that'll say like, yes, I'm ready to get up and go?
I think that something for me that really hit home when I was going through the process of really wanting to make the commitment to change my life is that you don't have to wait for tomorrow. You don't have to wait for the new year or a Monday. I mean, you really, truly have the power at any given second of your day to make the choice to not live the same life. I mean that's powerful to know that. I mean, you can just say right now at this moment, I'm going to take a step forward and I'm going to make a commitment to change, and it can happen. And that's the beauty of life is, you don't need to wait anymore. Make it
Mm-hmm.
happen now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do so many things at once, but things can happen as of
Yeah.
the second, you
Yes.
know? I mean, that's just, you know, and know
That's
that there
awesome.
are people that have been through exactly what you've gone through and are struggling to make the same choice, and we can all help each other,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Yeah.
it's just true. That's beautiful. It gives me goosebumps. So
That's awesome. That is awesome. That's a wonderful, wonderful thought to end on. So, Destiny, thank you so much, my love. I love you so much. I am so honored that you chose to do this with me, and I appreciate your time and your effort and your energy behind this. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
absolutely, and I'm sure I'll be hearing much more of you. I hope.
Yay! Absolutely. Mwah.
So wait. I have to tell
Yes.
you, the light
Yes.
in me honors and respects the light that shines in you. Namaste.
Namaste. That's beautiful. Thank you guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
Tune in
guys. Thank you.
tomorrow. Bye,
Yes.
everyone.